23. In chapter 22, we're going to be dealing with the departmentalization. Really, it's more about allocation in this group work. So let's see if we can go ahead and get into it. I've got Excel open over here because we're going to need it to help us run a couple calculations. You can see that the entry piece of this problem is very small, so we'll need to calculate it over on the side. National Bank has several departments occupy both floors of a two-story building. The departmental accounting system has a single account called building occupancy in its ledger. The types and amounts of occupancy costs recorded in the account for the current period follow. And you can see it's got several costs, and it totals up $66,000. All of these things look very, very indirect. Depreciation, interest, taxes. Obviously, these are indirect costs. Says the building has 4,000 square feet on each floor. In prior periods, the accounting manager merely divided the 66,000 of occupancy cost by the 8,000 square feet to find an average cost of $825 per square foot. Okay, well that sounds kind of easy. So I kind of want to just get a visual here real quick. I'm just going to roll over to OneNote real fast and see if we can look at something. So we're looking, let's just think about a square box building, right? So if I've got this building, there it is, and it's separated into two floors. Let me just bring a line across here. I'm probably not going to be 100% exact, but at least we'll kind of be close. So this is an 8,000 square foot building here, right? And it's basically saying that we've got 4,000 square feet on each floor. So I've got 4,000 total here and 4,000 total here. Okay, with a total of $66,000 in occupancy cost, basically what they're doing is they're saying that if we have 66,000 and we divide that by 8,000 square feet, that's going to equal $8.25 per square foot. So anybody who has a department on the first floor or the second floor, no matter what, they're going to get charged $8.25 per square foot for their space. Easy enough. All right, so we've got that calculated out. So Diane Linder manages a first floor department that occupies 1,000 square feet, and Chiro's on the second floor, and he occupies 1,800 square feet. All right. I think we can kind of figure that one out too. Let me just go ahead and get, I'll change color here real quick. Let's see if we can visualize this one. So we've got Linder, she's on the first floor, and she's taken up about 1,000 square feet of space, something like that. So we're going to put her right, we'll put her right about here. It doesn't want to have any fun with me today. So here's going to be Linder's department. She's taken up 1,000, and then we're going to have Chiro here in a second. Chiro's on the second floor, right? And I'll just draw another line. It looks like he's taken up about, I don't know, 1,800. He's taken up a little bit more space than she is. Okay, so I think we all get that. Here's Linder down here on the first floor. Here's Chiro up on the second floor doing 1,800 square feet. So we kind of get the visual of what's going on in there. So we're in a meeting, right? It says in discussing the departmental reports, the second floor manager, that's Juan Chiro, right? He questions whether using the same rate per square foot for all departments makes sense because the first floor space is more valuable. Uh-oh. This manager also references a recent real estate study of average local rental costs for similar space that shows first floor space worth 30 and second floor space worth 20. Oh man. And then it says allocate occupancy cost. But so what's going on here? Well, Juan Chiro is coming out and saying, hey, I don't think I should be paying $8.25 a square foot because I'm on the second floor and the first floor space is more valuable. So Diane, she should actually be paying more. Now, besides the fact that I'm probably going to want to meet up with Juan outside and kick his butt because he just made life really hard, we got to figure this thing out. I mean, look, it was real simple. We were just doing $8.25 a square foot, and now Chiro wants to complicate this mess. So he's in trouble with me. I'll have a private conversation with him later. So what they're asking us to do first is say, what does it look like normally? What does it look like right now? And that's what I've done here with Excel? Well, we already know it's $8.25 a square foot. We did that over here in OneNote. $8.25 per square foot. She's taken up 1,000. He's taken up 1,800. I think we can do that pretty easy. So if she's got 1,000 at 8.25 and Chiro's got 1,800 at 8.25, that's it. I mean, it was that easy. That's how we were working all the math out before Chiro decided to go and make a mess. Nothing wants to work. This one. Getting crazy. So there's what it looks like. The way that we are normally doing our work is that Chiro, they're all paying the same thing. That's got to go away so we can see. Let's go plug that over into Connect. So 1,000 square foot for Lender at 8.25 and 1,800 for Chiro at 8.25, and we'll see that we kind of get the same thing. So that's nice and easy. And now we're going to have to figure out what we're going to have to do in order to satiate Chiro. So let's go on over to the next one. So same deal here, still managing. It says allocate the depreciation, interest, and taxes occupancy cost to the Lender and Chiro departments in proportion to the relative market values of the floor space. Oh man. Allocate heating, lighting, and maintenance cost in proportion to square feet occupied, ignoring floor space market values, and we kind of have the same thing. They want us to answer it the same way, but very, very different scenario. So I've already started a sheet on how we're going to look at this. So here's both floors. This is all 8,000 square feet, right? So if we did this whole, divided by 8,000 square feet, we get kind of the same thing that we already had. I'm just going to call it the easy allocation, right? That was the 66 divided by the 8. That's the piece that we already did. That was fun, right? But now they want us to complicate matters and say, we want you to use certain things based on market value and certain things based on usage. And it said that it wanted us to allocate, where was it? Allocate the heating, lighting, and maintenance cost based on square footage occupied. So that's just going to be the usage base. So these are going to be 3,000, 3,000, and 6,000. And then it wanted us to do the rest of it, depreciation, interest, and taxes based on the value, 18,000, 27,000, and 9,000. Okay, so let's just go ahead and total those columns up real quick and see what we're kind of dealing with. So we've got a 54,000 total cost for value base and 12,000 total cost for usage base. But once again, these totals are for the whole building. So this is for all 8,000 square feet. So we're going to kind of deal with this from the whole building perspective. We're going to have to get each one down to unit cost, and then we're going to have to multiply it back out for the Lender and Chiro departments just to kind of see what happens. So let's go ahead and deal with the usage-based piece first, the 12,000. Well, that's kind of easy because it's the same thing. I'm going to divide by 8,000 square feet, and when I do that, I get $1.50 a square foot. That was nice and simple. I don't have to think about that anymore. So I've got the usage-based per square foot piece, but now I've got to deal with the value-based. So let's allocate the value-based. And what I've got is a first floor issue and a second floor issue. Okay? And if I go back through there, they're telling us that the first floor was worth 30 and the second floor was only worth 20. So we get a total of 50. We know that, right? That's a total of 50. So what has to happen here? Well, I think I need to find out what percentage the first floor is of total value and what percentage the second floor is of total value. So let's work that out. So if I'm going to take 30 divided by 50, and probably would be helpful if it would show it to me in percentages. Let's see if we can go ahead and make that happen. So in percentages. And then if I take 20 divided by the 50, that doesn't want to give me anything at all. Let's delete that out. It's because of the way I have it set. Plus 20 divided by 50. And now I'll put it in percentage mode. And obviously it's 40% because it has to equal 100%, right? In order to get the whole thing. So now what is it that we're trying to figure out 60 and 40% of? Well, it's going to be the 54,000. So if I'm going to take 60% of the 54,000, let's go ahead and run that math out. And then we'll do the same on the next floor. Okay, so here are our value-based allocations per floor. So now I need to take that out. We need to get some titles here. So let's look at allocation, and then we're going to be square foot per floor. And that should end up bringing us down to a unit price per floor. Okay, so now we're having to look at it per floor. So at the first floor, how many square feet? Well, it's 4,000 each floor. And in order to find the unit price per floor, I'm going to take the 32,400 divided by 4,000. And I'm going to take the 21,600 divided by 4,000. And I get my unit price per floor. There it goes again. Getting a little crazy on me. 810 and 540. But this was for our value-based allocation. The unit price that we're looking for here, but we've had to separate it per floor. So now what we need to do is we need to combine our value-based to our usage-based. So again, now we have usage-based unit, and we know that that's $1.50 per square foot no matter which floor you're on. So if we add those together, we should get a total unit price per square foot. So now we'll add the value-based unit and the usage-based unit together to get our total unit price per floor, $9.60 for the first floor and $6.90 for the second floor. I'm thinking that maybe Juan had a point, $9.60 and $6.90. Let's see what happens. Let me go ahead and bring this back over, and we'll see if we can skinny it down so we can see everything. So there's our new numbers. So now Lender has 1,000 on the first floor at $9.60. Chiro has 1,800 on the second floor at $6.90. Looks like Chiro might have been right. Look, he's paying $12,420 under the revised model, but under the old model he was paying $14,850. So I think Chiro had a point. I might not like it because $825 per square foot sure was easier than all of that. The good thing is that once we have it, we have it. And there's not much more that we'd have to do with it. We know exactly how much to apply to the first floor and how much to apply to the second floor. It just took a little bit of work to get there. Okay, let's move on to problem number 3. This is coming out of chapter 23. It says Cala Company produces skateboards that sell for $50 per unit. Company currently has the capacity to produce 90,000 skateboards per year, but is selling 80,000 skateboards per year. So it's under its total capacity. Annual cost for 80,000 skateboards follow. So here's the total cost for all the skateboards. Says that a new retail store has offered to buy, looks like 10,000 of its skateboards for $45 per unit. That's $5 less than normal. The store is in a different market from Cala's regular customers and would not affect regular sales. That's good because that means that we don't have an opportunity cost issue, right? So they've done a little research and said that a study of cost and anticipation of the additional business reveals the following. So direct material and labor, 100% variable. That's good. That makes it a little bit easier for us there. 30% of overhead. So 30% of overhead is fixed, which means that 70% of it's variable. Good, because we know we need to find variable cost. Selling expenses are 60% variable. So selling expenses 60%. With respect to the number of units sold, other 40% are fixed. There's going to be an additional $2 per unit selling expense for the order. And administrative expenses would increase by 1,000 fixed amount. Remember, administrative expenses are going to be 100% fixed as they are, but that's going to go up a little bit for this one order. So they're asking us to prepare a 3-column comparative income statement. It reports annual income without the special order. So what do we normally have? And we kind of almost already know that. And then what happens with the additional volume? How much is that going to add in? And then we combine that all together. So let's go ahead and get into the normal volume column. Well, of course, we're going to start with sales. We know we're going to start that out. And then if we're looking at the cost and expenses, they were right up there in the chart. So there's direct material, direct labor, and then there was some overhead. I think we had some selling expenses, and we had some administrative expenses. So nothing crazy, just pulled it from right here. Nice and simple. And I even already have these dollar amounts, so we can go ahead and plug that stuff in. So for direct materials, it was $800,000. The direct labor was $640,000. Oops, one too many zeros. And overhead was going to be $960,000. The selling expenses, $560,000. And administrative expenses were going to be $480,000. Okay, still got to deal with sales though. What are we going to deal with on sales? It says that we sell $80,000 at 50, right? So 8 times 5, we already know what that is. We're going to get 40 out of that. We add a bunch of zeros and we get 4 million. Okay, so this is normal. This is what we normally do, is 560,000 in just our regular operating profit. So now they're saying, what if you add in this special order? So let's just take this piece by piece. So the first thing they want us to do is that we're going to sell 10,000 at 45. So 45 basically times 1 is 45, and then you add those 4 zeros. So you're going to have 450,000. We get that. And then it says, what about direct materials? Well, remember, direct materials was 100% variable, just like direct labor was 100% variable. So we have direct materials of 800,000 at the point that we're doing 80,000 units. Okay, plus 800,000 divided by 80,000 gets us down to $10 per unit. Well, we're doing 10,000 units, right? So we do the multiplication there, and that says that direct material then should end up being 100,000. Let me just go ahead and see if we can format this so it looks a little bit better. All right, so $100,000. Okay, well, direct labor is also 100% variable. So plus 640 divided by the 80,000 gives us $8 a unit. Still 10,000 is what our additional is going to be. So we multiply that out and we should have 80,000. Okay, what about overhead though? What did they say about overhead? It says here 30% of overhead is fixed, which means 70% is variable. Okay, 70% of this number is variable. So plus 960,000 times 0.7, that's variable. So 672,000 is the variable piece. And again, we're going to go ahead and divide that out by 80,000. So plus 672,000 divided by 80,000 units. Okay, so 840, 10,000 is our new volume. And we do the math. And it says that our overhead should be 84,000. I think we're going to have the same kind of problem with selling expenses. So with selling expenses, 60% variable and an additional $2 per unit. So let's deal with the 60% variable first. So we go plus 560,000 times, what was it, 60%? Oh, now I've got to look, I've already forgotten. Yeah, 60% variable in there. So times 0.6 gives us 336,000, and that happens at 80,000 units. Plus 336 divided by 80 gives us 4.5. It's nice of it to give me fractions. Love how Excel just goes a little funny. 10,000 units is our new, right? Oh, but wait, don't we need to add in $2 per unit here? And we absolutely do. So we're actually going to make this $6.20. Just in case you missed it, It says whatever your selling is, add an additional $2 per unit. So obviously that's going to be 62,000. So we get 62,000 here. All right. What they say about administrative expenses? It's all fixed, but it's going to increase by 1,000. That's simple, just $1,000, because the 480 is a sunk cost. It's nothing we can do about it. We can't change it. So we're just going to do the 1,000. Look at what's happening. It says that taking in this additional volume, we're actually going to make an additional $123,000 for a combined total of $683,000. I think we should definitely take the order, and that concludes our group on chapters 22 and 23.